Hi, I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach, and this is the Organize Your Life podcast. I am passionate about organizing because it makes my clients' lives so much easier, more relaxed, and with more time to spend the way they want to. In every podcast in the show, I'll lay out a simple organizing concept, and I'll tell you why it's important. I'll also include an action step at the end so you can start practicing right away. My specialty is chunking down this big topic so it's not overwhelming. That's the concept for this podcast, which is based on my first book, 52 Simple Ways to Get Organized. The book is available on my website and on Amazon. I work with clients in person in the Berkeley, California area and via email and Skype, so you don't have to be local to me. Visit the Hire tab on my website or email me at claire@cluttercoach.net. If you like the show, please rate it and review it. To do that, go to my website, cluttercoach.net, and scroll down for the show notes. Each show notes post has a link to leave a review in iTunes. I would so appreciate that. Okay, on to the podcast. I'm here with podcast number 64. It's based on simple way number 49 from my book, and it's called Time Travel. If you've been listening to this podcast or reading the book, you know that I love tricks. I love to think up sneaky ways to get people to do things that they don't want to do, although they want to have done them. You know that feeling. You love to wake up one morning and find your desk all neat and tidy, as if the organizing elves have been there during the night. You just don't want to do it yourself, because that's hard and overwhelming and time-consuming and just not fun. I get that. Part of my mission is to present organizing and decluttering and time management in ways that make it seem more palatable, even kind of fun. I think up ways to help you diffuse your resistance to doing those things that you actually want to do. Today's trick is about time travel. It's a way to get some objectivity about your to-do list and the way you spend your time. It's a common thing to be faced with an entire day on the one hand and a long list on the other. Many tasks on our list have equal priority, or they're so different that it's like apples and oranges trying to compare them. Plus, there's usually more on your list than you'll be able to tackle in one day. The time travel trick is this. Imagine that it's the end of the day and you're looking back on what you accomplished. It's important to do this imagining in a positive frame of mind. You've put in a good day's work. You probably didn't do everything, but you did the right things. What were they? Ask yourself these questions. What thing did you do that made you feel the most satisfied? What did you feel most relieved about getting off your list? What completed task has opened the door to more progress? What log jams did you break up? What do you need to cross off in order to feel good about leaving your work and enjoying your evening? Here's a hint. Your answers probably won't involve things like checking email. It's easy to fall into that pit of doing those straightforward, undemanding tasks that you can quickly knock off. But a day of those does not a productive day make. For inspiration, take a look at some of your completed to-do lists. If you don't have any, start keeping them. They're very valuable research material. We often focus only on what we have to do and haven't done. This will remind you of what you have accomplished. Super important. Reviewing old lists can be a great way to get some insight into how you spend your time, or inspire you to investigate. If very little is getting checked off your lists, yet you are quote-unquote busy all day, what the heck have you been doing? Projecting yourself into the future gives you a clearer view of what you're up to when you imagine that you've already done it. I got this idea at a workshop I took with a business consultant, Kimberly Weefling. She had us choose a goal that we had no idea how to achieve. We wrote that goal on the right side of a long piece of paper. Then, instead of having us write out the steps from left going toward the goal, she said, think about what you did right before you got to your goal. What was that last step? And then, what was the one before that, and before that, and before that? Of course, we were totally making it up, but we were able to think of what the most logical previous steps would have been, all the way back to the present. And then when we read that line of steps going forward, wow, it made a lot of sense. And it included lots of things that we had not been able to think of, thinking just in the present. This trick is a mini version of that. Here you are at the end of the day. You're not necessarily tracing a sequence of steps, although you might be doing a project that involves steps like that. You just want to be satisfied with what you did. You want to be able to relax for the evening and not stress out about what didn't get done. Sometimes a small, easy task turns out to be the most important one in terms of the amount of progress you make or that you set yourself up to make. Don't be fooled by thinking you need to do the big thing, the intimidating thing. In fact, this trick is all about seeing about how those little things magically add up to something big, as long as you keep at them. Right now, what can you do? If you're listening in the evening, reflect on your day. What are you happy about having done? If it's morning, you can think back to yesterday or get to work on your list and make sure to keep it to refer back to. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach. If you like the show, I'd love it if you leave a rating and review in iTunes. You can subscribe, too, so the podcast will be ready and waiting for you to listen to. You'll find the show notes on my blog at www.cluttercoach.net, and you can check out my store to find books I've written and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're a fan of the show, you can become a patron on patreon.com for as little as $1 a month. You can find my page by going to the Patreon website, that's Patreon, and searching on Clutter Coach. I'll still post the podcast free of charge, but I've got some cool rewards for folks who want to help me make the show even better. Come back next week for a new podcast.